Welcome to the Redvee TV show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2024 season. And we are here with the 2024 Redvee Player of the Year show. Kevin, it's been a tough one.
It has season wise, definitely trying to pick top three hasn't necessarily been easy. I would like to, obviously, people will notice straight away. I've been shoved into the spare room here because of decorating being done. So don't worry about my well being with this wardrobe next to me and the flag behind me. Everything's fine. But yeah,
No one,
it's
you mean there's no one behind the camera forcing you to take part in this show, Kevin?
only you. Um, but yeah, it's been a it's you know what we'll see when we get into everyone's votes, kind of how it's gone. There's obviously some names that people are going to expect mentioned, but it's been a tough one, hasn't it?
It has. Do you want to go first with your three? Starting with third place.
Yeah, I can do. Obviously in reverse order, number three for me, I've gone with Mark Percival. There's a couple of players unlucky to miss out. Could have gone Curtis Sirenen, could have gone George Delaney. But I just feel when I was thinking about this, I always thought Mark Percival was properly running his blood to water, properly trying to get us on the front foot. 21 games for him this season, I think it was. And I just think he kind of embodied what we needed when we were doing it tough. So that's why he's got third place for me. Second for me, and possibly might have sneaked first if he hadn't got his neck injury, is Sione Matautia. I just think he's been terrific in every position he's played. He's probably not a natural centre anymore, but he's stood up to the task of playing centre for us and tried solidifying us. I think there's only the league game that blots his copybook where he was probably over trying rather than just making mistakes because he was taking his eye off the ball. And then in first place, it's Matty Lees. He's he's just been the benchmark, I think, for our forward line, for our pack. The person who's been available, the player who has kind of set the standard. Um, he's just been terrific for us this year. Rightly put into the Super League Dream Team. Rightly winning all the club awards as well. Members Award, he got my vote for. He won Players Player, he won Player of the Year as given by the coaches. I just think for him, it's been an outstanding season. And even though it was in a loss against Wigan, topped off by him captaining the side, which was absolutely thoroughly deserved.
Okay. I will go on to my three then. In third place, Sione Matautia. I felt early in the year, or midway through the year, that if he'd have stayed fit, he was a dream team candidate.
Yeah.
The way his form was, considering the way the team's form was, but how he was playing, he was helping carry us week by week. Always one who looked like he was going to break the line. Always one who was going to give us a spark. And like the club give him the Clubman Award, the Saints Award, this is Saints Award. Just those little one percenters, the extra efforts that he puts in, and it didn't go unnoticed. In second place, I've gone for Curtis Sirenen. Again, exactly the same. And I felt this year our second rowers and our forwards anchored the team in in desperate times. It has to be said. And Curtis, he was like Iron Man, so strong. And when he wasn't playing, we drastically missed him. Um, Defensively, absolutely solid, and a fully fit Keir and one of the best players in the comp. But number one, for all the same reasons as you said, Kev, Matty Lees. In testing times for the Saints props this year, he's carried us throughout. He's helped bring some of the young players on, um, and he's just turned into the player you always hoped he could be. Obviously, he had the injuries a couple of years ago, which were were bad injuries. But to come back the way he has, and be such a leading light in the team. You've seen what the teammates think of him, you've seen what the coaches think of him, and you see what we think of him as fans. Right then, let us get into some of our Redvee contributors. A couple of them have sent videos, a couple of them have sent them in via text. We have videos from Peter Elder, Don McCormick, and Kev Cunningham, and Paul Ellison and Steve Smith are unable to find an internet connection.
To be fair to Steve, I think he was in Tenerife and might have had a beer or two when he sent them over to
He's trying to say something about his selections.
just his wording that I'm going to have to clean up.
Right, let's get to it.
Hi there, Peter Elder here, but he's probably just know me as that Scottish guy that occasionally turns up on Redvee TV. Just to give my Player of the Year nominations for 2024 in what was a very, shall we say, trying campaign for Saints. Certainly not one we'll look back on with a lot of affection, but, you know, that's sport. It's ups and downs, taking it off with the smooth, so hopefully 2025 will turn out a little bit better. Honorary mentions for myself this year, Lewis Dodd, who's moving on, but we'll be forever grateful for the win and drop goal against the Panthers last year to bring the World Club title back to St Helens. Tommy Mack moving on as well. Gutted to be losing him, but what a great player and what a wonderful contribution he's given to the club. Morgan Knowles, as always, gave us all throughout the season. Unfortunately, with injury and suspension, missed quite a few games. And a big shout out to Noah Stevens, who I thought in his first year in the first team made a massive, massive impression. And I think there's big things to be had from that young fellow. However, my top three, starting with third place, is another young player, George Delaney, who I'm delighted to say was nominated in the Super League Young Player of the Year. Difficult having coming in for your second season when they perhaps know a bit more about you, and considering we didn't do so well this year, I thought he put his hand up, did a lot of big minutes, big carries, and is certainly now an established Super League front row. Number two for me is Sione Matautia, perhaps not the greatest centre we've ever seen, but a guy who runs himself into the ground week in, week out. He was great at prop, great at second row, great at loose forward, and is a player that we'll certainly well miss. But certainly his adaptability and variety of positions that he can cover. But my Saints Player of the Year for 2024 is our Super League Dream Team jersey wearer, Matty Lees, our top prop without any doubts. Playing week in, week out, a lot of games, a lot of big minutes, probably playing through injury as well, and whom without him we would almost certainly have not made the playoffs. An absolutely stellar campaign from Matty. So that's my top three. George Delaney, Sione Matautia, and my Player of the Year, Matty Lees.
Hi everyone, Don McCormick here, contributes to the Redvee TV Instant Fan Reaction, and here's my three nominations for the Redvee TV Player of the Year. Number three is Mark Percival. In a year when we haven't really performed, Percy's been one of the one threats out wide, as always, and apart from being put under pressure last Friday night and kicking into touch, which no one blames him for that, well I certainly don't, he's given us the one bounce of the year, kicking from the touchline, take us into Golden Point, and we were literally minutes away from potentially getting through to the semi. So Mark Percival, number three. Number two, his best mate, and it goes without question, I'm not picking him because he's leaving. I'm picking him because of his performance this year. Performance out of D, running hard out of D, never gives up. Scores some fantastic tries. His try finishing obviously is legendary, and that is Tommy Makerson. Thanks for all that, Tom. And the Redvee TV Player of the Year for me doesn't come as any surprise. We've needed a leader throughout the year, with senior absentees in the pack missing, and although effort throughout the team should always be there, this guy doesn't just bring effort, he raises the standard. He plays right on the line, which is where we need it to be at elite level. Sometimes steps over the mark, I'm fine with that. But as I say, don't come as any surprise. Redvee TV Player of the Year for me, Matty Lees. So thanks very much. See you next year.
Hi everyone, Kev Cunningham here, contributor to Redvee TV for the 24 season. Been asked to give my top 3 players for Saints this year in a pretty disappointing season, so here goes. In 3rd place for me, a really tough one between 2 players who I think have just given everything this year, Mark Percival and Sione Matautia, but I've gone for the former Percy because I just don't think he's let us down at all year. Every time we need him to put his hand up and get stuck in, and I think that was kind of proven towards the end of the season when he slotted that goal there at Warrington to get us into golden points. And I know the kick was his mistake, but look, we can afford him that. He's been nothing but a stalwart for us, and when he's on the field, he's arguably one of our most influential players. Second for me is a young man who has got through so much work, way more work than I think the club ever expected him to this year, and that's George Delaney. I think he's just going to get bigger, fitter, stronger, faster, and if we can manage him and look after him, he's going to become one of the game's best props moving forward. And no surprise who number 1 is. I think everyone else who's contributed to this will wax lyrical about him just in the same way that I'm going to, but Matty Lees has been absolutely phenomenal all season long. Big minutes, games where he's doing 70-75 minutes stints to kind of support the team and put his hand up. I know he cleaned up at the end of season awards and he's been named in the dream team and no doubt will be brilliant for England moving forward. But yeah, he's had an outstanding season, and if we can keep Alex fit next year with Matty Lees and with the likes of Iggy Parsley and Noah Stevens and Delaney, we'll have a real good front row, and let's hope that's the case. So yeah, see you all in the 2025 season, and those are my top 3. Take care.
Right then, Kev, the selections are in. I think we can probably safely say who's won this one, but we'll put the graphic up just so you can see the full lot.
And while the graphic's up, I'll give a little bit of background on Steve and Paul's as well. So Steve sent me, in a season of bereft attacking flair, Tommy kept up his usual exemplary form. Matty Lees showed why he's a shoo-in for England week in, week out, and carried an injured pack consistently. Forgetting the league game, where he had hands like a digital watch, that's what I've cleaned up there. Sione was the shining light whenever he took to the field. Outstanding player who will be missed. And Paul's goal, Noah Stevens, redvee.net's Noah Stevens is his full title. Thrown in when numbers were missing, impressed with his direct running and yards made after contact. Hopefully see more of him next year with a good pre-season to facilitate his development. Sione played in a variety of positions. Injury stopped him contributing more, will be a huge miss. And then Matty Lees, almost ever present, playing 80 minutes the majority of the time, basically carried the pack on occasions and kept us competitive.
I think it's fair to say, without getting a calculator out, Matty Lees has won it. 2nd place, I think, is Sione Matautia, and 3rd place has probably gone to Mark Percival.
It's well, Matty, if we score it 3 points for first, 2 for second, and 1 for third, Matty Lees got 20 points in the voting. Sione got 10. And then George Delaney, Mark Percival, and Tommy Makinson all got 3 points.
See, and that is why you should be using a calculator. There you go then, Kev. Our winner of the 2024 Redvee Player of the Year is the one and only Matty Lees. Do you know what? The lads won some awards over the past week, but they all pale in comparison to being cut out and stuck on a graphic of the Saint Stadium by the Pender.
Oh, that took me literally hundreds of seconds to make.
It's worth more than any trophy, Kevin.
It is. Should get that printed out and framed for him so you can put it up on his wall.
Yes. Right then, Kev. short but sweet. We're going to get into our Redvee player reviews over the next couple of days, giving us our views on what we think of the year gone by. We'll get into that and we will catch you very soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.